shine bright with Arena.
Sleep No More is an immersive theater production by Punchdrunk based on Shakespeare's Macbeth and featuring a film noir aesthetics. Since its debut in London in 2003, the show has been in residence in Boston, New York, and Shanghai. For the first time, we are taking you backstage for an exclusive glimpse into one of the most enigmatic productions ever staged. In this special interview, we'll chat with Eric Jackson Bradley, the resident director of Sleep No More Shanghai.
When I was doing my research on Sleep No More, I talked to my friends who watched the show, and the most common feedback was that it's so on edge, it's insane, and it's really surprising for a conservative audience. Have you ever faced any cultural challenges producing Sleep No More in Shanghai?
Yes. I think that here, those challenges that we felt from maybe an audience that was curious about something from another place really turned into creative challenges. And they often rendered beautiful versions of things that were different from other versions of this experience. And somehow they got funneled through the language of beauty. We found such a generous audience in that, what you might say was a conservative culture. Just people that were so generous and open to seeing and to experiencing. I never felt shut out. I felt welcomed in. I think I look for a person who can own the room. They walk in and something begins. I try to develop a unique vocabulary with each person. They all have their own outlooks. We look for really different personalities because the characters are all different. And so I try to find a language that we both connect with so that we can communicate through that language, whether it be a point of view, where they're from, their aesthetics or dreams, and then we use that to try to mold into the work together. It's a big rehearsal, so keep performance concentration. Maybe as much as I love to hear your voices, just keep them slightly lower so that the people who are on stage can really get through what they're doing. So just keep close attention so that we can get the work done, because you know that things can happen in this scene that are unpredictable.
Getting ready for the show constitutes with a lot of things. So I start the day off at call time. We come in and I'll start my warm-up. My warm-up will have things like I'll have Pilates exercises, I move through a bit of a yoga flow, and then I'll do my injury management exercises. And then I also practice a 10-minute kind of breath work that I do before going into the show to help reset the adrenal system and make sure that I'm going into the show emotionally and mentally prepared for what the show requires.
Sleep No More requires a lot of emotional and physical involvement. How do actors take care of their mental health?
Well, they physically condition first, because you have to have a really strong physique and physical ability. And we do something that we think about like return to neutral, return to you.
But is it possible to return to you and not to merge with your character?
Yes. You have to be able to go home. And if you have trouble doing that, we also have lots of ways of supporting. Energize yourselves and let's have a good day of rehearsals. Thank you all.
For example, tomorrow I'm going to play Macbeth, so I have to be ready from today. It's because it's really hard for your mental, for your emotional, for your physical, because once your emotion doesn't get the way it is, then you get physically injured. So they have to be connected together. So you have to be mentally ready for your body to do the physical.
So what I do is I use the memory recall of the body and the physicality of what it feels like to be sad, what it feels like to be angry, and I allow that to inform the emotion rather than generating the emotion every single night. Because if I do that, gosh, I'm going to be the saddest and angriest girl alive. So using the body memory to inform the brain.
Sleep No More was and is so popular, but why did Punchdrunk decide to end the show in New York?
Well, it's not Punchdrunk. We would always open our doors to the audience, and thank goodness in New York we're still so popular. The producers there, I think, had a very, an astronomical run with the show. I don't know the nuts and bolts reasons why they decided to close the doors there, but it's been a very extended closing because the audience has just responded with all this love and interest and,
This hotel is not always as it appears. The more curious you are, the more you'll discover.
Mask. Why do we need a mask for this show?
I think we all sort of wear a mask every day. We sort of control ourselves. And there's something about actually putting on a mask that is actually quite neutral, that hides you from others, that you suddenly get to be free. And that you have to, your feelings just wash over you without any sense that other people are looking at you. You're no longer the center or the star of your movie. Someone else is. And of course, it also acts as a delineation so everybody knows who's who.
So it's such an irony because people say, take off your mask, be real. But it seems that to be real and feel more, we need a mask.
Well, those two things are in conversation, right? There's something about it also somehow puts your focus on your body because, you catch glimpses of yourself and you look different, you feel different. And it isolates you in a way that centers your experience in you, which is all what Punchdrunk work is about. It's all about the audience experience. Everything we do is to make you feel something.
Let's talk about you. How did you ended up in the immersive theater? Because back to 2008, when you joined Punchdrunk, immersive theater was completely new experience. How come?
Well, it certainly was new in the States. I had been in many what you might call site-based works, which were works that were out at the theater. I'd also been involved with a lot of work that was danced very close up. I was very accustomed to dancing with audiences that were at arm's length. I was involved with many performers who had these same set of skills and interests. And one of my friends auditioned for Punchdrunk in Boston. And she called me up and said, hey, these guys are going to come to New York. You've got to go. And I did. And I had absolutely no idea what I was getting into. I hadn't done one lick of research. And they briefly described the show, and I thought, I got to do this. And I went, and I made it. And my preparation for my Punchdrunk audition was to lay down on the ground for about 2.5 seconds. Then they said, let's begin. And there was something, that was my feeling. They just scooped me up from the floor and just took me on this beautiful, beautiful journey. We have them in Paris in the US, where you sit on a platform and you're above water. And people throw baseballs at a target. And then if they hit it, the seat breaks and the person goes underneath water.
Okay. So do you want to do that swimming pool upon?
That would be cool.
25% come to one salon, 50 you come to another, 75, and then the final thing is a pub quiz to a pop quiz. And then we can score people, oh, you're 100%.
So will you
The 2000th night open will happen on August 3rd. We are having all these fun and informative events to lead up to that. We're sponsoring and offering a number of salons to the public where we're going to kind of open up the lid to a little bit of process, a little bit of story, a little bit of information, trying to expand people's ways to look at the show.
Your way is very inspiring, from performer to the resident director of Sleep No More.
Thank you.
What advice would you give someone who just stepping in the world of theater?
I guess I would tell a young person the most important thing is to spend some time in your training and in your development alone and figure out some of the things that really touch you, things that feel close to your heart, things that feel close to your breathing. And once you know that, take the most concrete steps you are to come closer to that, to get involved in internships and training and companies and artists who you find exciting, and then let that bring those things that you find exciting closer to you at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate you guys being here.